All right, so today we're going to talk about an interior packing system. It could ostensibly be used as is, just as a box. It provides fairly good protection. Or it could be used as an inner box, either one. It's an isolation system, what you call simple isolation. It just means basically we're going to take the objects and keep them from hitting each other or hitting something that can damage it. We're not doing any stabilization to the objects in the basic level. You can integrate that into the system very well, but we'll cover that later. What this is called is the wave. What it consists of basically is, this is filled with a continuous string of bubble on a roll. Obviously it works to have the bubble cut to be the depth of the box. It doesn't have to be continuous. You can break it off anywhere you want to. You can do half of it, the box, in wave and half not. Or if you use up all your bubble and you add in more, that's fine. But the nice thing is it doesn't tear into little pieces that then are not useful. It is very reusable, and basically it consists of, the reason it's called a wave is if you see here, there's just compartment after compartment. The bubble goes down, it comes up. It goes down, it comes up. So there are a series of troughs in there to hold objects. You can put it bubble out, or just like anything else, bubble in or bubble out. In the context of small ethnographic objects, which is what we did, one of the things you can do is to actually have the bubbles be out. The reason you do that is that you can have a series of objects in here, and each one of these little bubbles is like a little fingertip. It just basically helps kind of hold it in place rather than just something slick. So that helps prevent a little movement this way, if you're concerned about that. You start out the box by actually taking the same roll and doing several laps back and forth to get however much depth you want for your bottom pad. So obviously if you're going to use this as the primary shipping container or packing container, you'd probably put more down there. If it's going to go inside of something else, then less so. Obviously you could have foam in the bottom if you wanted to. You know, it's just like anything else. It can be combined with things. The advantage to this is that it's very rapid. It's reusable in its present form. You can unpack it. It includes a high degree of visibility for the object, you know, because you're not mummifying it. You're doing the opposite. Basically, the most fundamental aspect of this is that as you pull open a trough, and where you want it, up to you, depending on the object, depending on how many you have. You can come in several troughs if you want. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to put an object here. I'm going to put an object here. So you can put them in the same trough. Well, how do you do that? They could go together, right? Well, the most fundamental aspect of this is, if you're using multiple objects of similar shape and size, is to alternate them. They basically separate each other and you know, prevent movement that way. The other thing that's nice about this with small objects, you could use one trough right next to the other. You could have 6 and 5 and 6 and 5 and 4 and 3. As they get bigger, you have fewer per row. And you can work your way down literally with just a layer of double bubble between them. If you have heavier objects or bigger objects, you can do double waves. You basically increase the cushioning between them as they get heavier. You know, obviously it's nice. I can say put the lid to that pot there, and then really all I need is maybe one separation, and then the pot can go here. I've got the spout right here. The other thing you can do to amend this at any point in time, if you don't have an even number of whatever, say, and you need to separate something, at any time you can come in and either insert this along the way here to create a shape that makes this wedge form where they can't contact each other, or you can just come into the side like that and isolate it from going this way. You can put any number of objects in here in a relatively short period of time, and they'll go right in. And I'm using a lot of, this could be condensed. Obviously you could fit a lot more than this. Any of these that you're worried about surface areas, you could have this in a layer of high density and still have visibility. If if you have other concerns, you can stretch this out this way. If you want to, like this, because I want to keep that string all straight. What else can you do? But basically, if you, okay, here's something that, see, this is starting to fill up. Pull more bubbles out. Pull out a few waves, give yourself some slack. Okay, here's something, I've got something I don't want to contact there. It's just like anything else. You come in here, you locate it, and then you make sure that you have something that will go on each side to contact the point that you want to contact and leave the other loose. So I'm going to try and do this to where you can see it a little bit. So tip it up a little bit. So there you can see I can come in here and I can just hold the part I want to hold and utilize the shape of the object to keep it in place. The other thing I didn't note that I will note right away is like any packing thing, this is it gets problematic if you're having to get up on it and the flaps are out. So you'll notice I close the flaps on this. Pretty common thing to do. The thing about this one is a lot of MacPack type packs or shallow packs like this are not very deep and the flaps are longer. The thing in that instance to consider is to put it on top of another box. So that could be an empty box or that could be a packed box. So actually that's a nice thing. That's holding it in place using the box underneath kind of as a pedestal. So if you're on a big job, you can actually kind of have a work table made out of these boxes. So you get to a point like this and it's like, oh, well this is, this is open top, I don't like that. Well, that's fine because you're going to finish this off by coming in, and when you get them all to where whatever level of lean you want, the nice thing about this is if they're settled down in there, these can lean over your objects a bit. And that's fine if it causes something to be uneven because some are high and some are low and they lean over a little more. That's fine because what you're going to do is you're going to then come back with this excess, and the final touch before closing it up is that you're going to put a few layers, whatever is required to fill in the top. So if you had a bunch of smaller pieces, you might have your waves much further down in the box. One option you always have is to, if you have a pre-done label, say that maybe you print it out from a list, even if it's just cut on paper, it can be put in the trough with it to identify the piece. Since it's contained in the trough with it, it makes it pretty obvious what it goes with. Then when it's removed, the label can come with it, of course. That's a nice thing. There are other times, though, what if you have multiple objects that you don't have multiple labels, but it's a piece that has separate components. That would be a place where you might want to have a piece of tape. At least this is what we've done in the past, that you pick out the number of troughs it in and then bridge across it using a piece of tape and have your label attached with a piece of tape. Basically, the unpacking is like, just as fast and just as visible. You can see exactly what's there, and you're not pulling tape on anything. You know exactly where to pick something up. I'm not going to touch the ends of that, either extremity. You work your way down, and so basically a packed box. Next time we'll time it. Unpacks about this quick. Now obviously you're going to need to kind of comb through these and verify that they're empty at the end of this. But in the meantime, what we've done takes just that long. And of course the beauty of this is it takes a bit to set one of these up, to make all these little waves. It just takes a little bit of time. But, once it's done, basically there it is. The excess can be rolled up. It's ready to go another round.